Hello and welcome back to Geek Feng Shui, or as they say over in Greece, Calamera. You may have wondering where I've been. Well, I was traveling, whether it was up to northern Wisconsin or to Italy and Greece. It's been a busy month and a half preparing for that and recovering from it, as the case may be. Jet lag is a thing, plus family business stuff going on that, well, not business, but family stuff going on where we've had different things taking away from gaming time. And of course, I had system issues that I seemed to have fixed that were locking up the computer, and I think it had to do with DirectX. It didn't do it all the time. It was annoying enough when it did it. So I think I fixed that and got things going. We had a wonderful time in Italy and Greece, 18 days of traveling. Saw a lot. Vatican City, uh, all kinds of fun places. Santorini was probably my favorite, our favorite, because we got to relax a little bit after we got to chillax a little bit in the sunshine and cooler temperatures when we first went over, and much of Italy and Greece were 98 degrees with 90% humidity, so it was a bit warm and exhausting. You didn't go anywhere without water. I enjoyed Greece particularly so, Italy as well, because of Assassin's Creed. A lot of the games, Odyssey in particular, are set in those areas. And familiar places. When we went to the tomb of Agamemnon, and we're going through, I had deja vu, as many places I did. And so they said, there's this little side room. We don't know what it's for. So we go through that. Oh, wait, that's the game. But there was another family I heard of that had a son that played it a lot, and he gave the tour. They didn't bother hiring a tour guide. He gave the tour, and I could see how that goes with it. But shout out to our friends at Cata Good Brewing here in Cass and Matterville, under pressure, Golden Valley, south by southeast and beautiful Pine Island. Check out my books at sellersjr.com, my overall website, geekfengshui.com, this channel, which we be sure to like, subscribe, setting of the bell. Commentary is welcome, but it's moderated. And if you're a troll, as why I picked the graphic for this video, just remember, spell your words carefully. And if they're big swear words, you may not see them posted. So anyway, what are heirlooms? Well, if you're a casual player like myself, and you have 1385s, yes, I've been playing my characters up. I boosted a couple of months or so ago and played in some heroics, which I'll do some videos about. You can get tokens that go to heirlooms. So let's go take a look at a Horde priest I'll be starting. Yes, I've organized all my characters, Horde and Alliance, building up the Horde side. Turn the sound off so it doesn't interfere too much. What are heirlooms, you might ask? Well, heirlooms are items that you can get that are account-wide for the release of the game that you're in. What I mean by that, in retail I had a bunch of heirlooms that were not in Wrath of the Lich King or Cataclysm until I got them. Now, I got them in Cataclysm. To be honest, I didn't have the high-level characters in Wrath to go do what I needed to do to get them, other than Wintergrasp. I don't have the shoulders through the heroics. I have the shoulders from Wintergrasp that are more PvP, but do give you the benefit of added XP. Now, as we go through Cataclysm, if we go on to other upgrades to different releases, and if they restart Wrath of the Lich King, I won't have these, but they'll come with me as we advance these accounts up through the different releases that they may or may not do for Classic. So in Cata, what you have here is you have mail options for casting, as well as DPS. Same with plate. So if you want to be tank or if you want to be a DPS, and you have cloth and you have leather. Little caveat to these, if your starting armor type is cloth or leather, you can transmog them. That's why you see the look that you see on this priest versus if you put them on because I will go show you how you get them. They look kind of crummy, in my opinion. Not crummy. I take that back. That would be bad for the artists who did them, but they stand out as heirlooms up to and including the staff. Now you can see I have a bunch of weapons. I'll get into those in a minute. So right now, I will zoom in. You can see the character. If I go to the character screen, you can see her here. If I go in and put on, it's pretty obvious. Those are heirlooms. But if you go in and transmog them, like I have, you can see that you can delete them, or you can send it to other characters. It used to be, I think it might have been Wrath or somewhere, before they had this pool, you did have to mail them to the characters. So if you had a set of shoulders that you wanted to have, you had to mail them. And you can mail them across server. Heirlooms can be mailed across server, which was good. But now with this, these heirlooms are available. If I were to go over, and I'll go over to another server and show you where I can use them there. What does the heirloom give you? Well, the helmet or headpiece, as a case you may want to talk about it, goes from 1 to 85. So you could theoretically wear this all up to 85. I would typically recommend going to a regular one about level 83, 84, depending upon the options available, because you're going to be running into things that require a certain armor level to get into for some instances. But this is a 10% XP gain. This, the shoulders are only good to 80, but they give you another 10%. The back pieces are good up until 85 and give you 5%. And the armor gives you another 10. So I've got 10, 20, 30, 5% XP boost when you're playing. Now the weapons will go up to only 80, so you have to bear that in mind. Typically, again, you can switch over. So they really don't necessarily give you XP, but they do improve with your character as you go up. Now, this does give you a big advantage. How I did this transmog here is I hoofed it all the way over to Orgrimmar and transmogged it there. I could not find transmog on Undercity. There probably is one there, but I'm not sure if it's only in Org or Stormwind for the case for the Alliance, because I don't know if they have them in other places for the Alliance. At any rate, you also have weapon choices. So in this case, I've got the axe, the maces, both one hand and two hand, the bow, another mace, a sword for tanking, and a staff, and then daggers. The sword is main hand. The rest are main or offhand as far as the maces. This mace is main hand. That's a healer mace, or a spellcaster mace for that matter. And this is a tank, or I suppose you could use it for a DPS if you're doing two-handed. But these maces and daggers can go both in a mix. And then they have the trinkets, which are powerful at level 1, going up because this gives you 2% of your maximum mana whenever you kill a target. That gives you experience or honor. Battlegrounds are included, obviously, with that. This gives you a haste rating, plus heals you for 2% of your maximum health whenever you kill a target. So right there, if you have mana and health, so if you're a character that does not have mana, you can use 2 of these. Or if you don't need the life, you can do 2 mana ones. So let's go look at, and I've created some level 1 characters to show the leveling experience. Back in Wrath of the Lich King, I had developed a leveling plan, per se, that would end up getting me 3 to 4 to 5 levels higher than the area I was leveling in. So I didn't do instances. I was just doing the grinding. And that involved going to all 3 starting areas. You can go back and see some of my videos on that. There we go. Apologies if you can't hear me now. In the case of a druid with heirlooms, you can transmog them. You have to go back to, as I said, Ogremar or Stormwind, if you can get there, to do it, because they both start, in this case, with cloth or leather. But if you are same thing with I did the priest. That's what I was just on. So these, my banks, I did not do it, so you can see they do look like heirlooms. If you come down to a shaman, this is a character that is in the starting zone that I can't get to right away, so they are not going to look like transmogs, look like heirlooms, as is a paladin, for example. And my goal with these heirlooms and doing some of the leveling of the Horde is I'm going to challenge myself to step outside the box that I normally do of DPS grinding, and that I'm going to do tanking and tanks and healing on healers, having fun with rogues. I do have a number of rogues started. As you can see, transmog those so you can have different looks. Why multiples? Well, back in retail, when I got going on the Horde side, I realized how stinted, now I will use that word, the game is towards Horde over Alliance. And what that means is brought to a point when you get to places such as I also had to reinstall TouchPro. I was having some weird things with that, so it was a cascade of issues that I think I have fixed, so I can get back to doing streaming without having to deal with issues. So if you go to Outland and you go to Hellfire Peninsula, you have a Horde fort, Thralamar. Then you have the Alliance fort. The Horde fort is out in the open. It's not a fort, it's a town or whatever you want to call it. And it's very hard to hide when you sneak in there once you've engaged anything. The Alliance side, that is different. And the reason for that is there's hidey corners you can go into. So what I did with 3 rogues is I got my max level rogues and I planted them in 3 different areas and cloaked them and logged out and was doing other stuff. So I'd come in on one rogue, go through, kill all the NPCs, and there were some unfortunate character players there. They found the graveyard, and I go back to my hiding spot and I log out and log into my other rogue, and the guards and everybody were running towards where my other rogue was, and I would go down and rinse, repeat, go back to hiding, and then log out and get on my third one. And I caused a real chaotic mix because I get on my Alliance and go, what's going on? I hear about this rogue that's going all over. It was fun. Yeah, it was. I might release my Horde side. But the populations, that's the next topic I'll touch on. Besides heirlooms, when I come back, I think the initial crush of people playing is down considerably on the Horde side as well. On the Alliance side was never really that active anyway. There's a lot of people out there playing it, but you wouldn't know it. And I use my rule or litmus test of Uldum where you go up and there used to be clouds of Horde, whether they're bots or not, that were flying around mining. And I gave up usually trying to farm on the Alliance side and would farm on my Horde side and then send it across and sell it. That worked out well. But the other litmus test is the token. Now, people say, well, you know, there's a lot of people that don't like the tokens. I do, for the benefit that it's like gambling. If you manage your expectations and what you do to invest in your characters, I'm all for it. There's a lot of gold sellers that are outside of Blizzard that are more than willing to take your money and get you gold and probably get you banned or hacked. I've seen it, and it's not pretty. But in the initial rush of the, if I started with the wrong character. So let's see, we'll go up here. These are characters that I'll show off. I know I use the graphic from the priest, but the tokens originally were selling for something like 20,000, or not selling, but you could, for $20 you got 20,000 gold. Then they were, as more and more people played and people really started getting into them, they dropped considerably to, I think the lowest I saw was 8,000 gold. I needed some gold, and I bought one, and they slowly went up and down, and now it's 25.96. The other day it was up to 21,000. I bought one just to set up all my characters with bags and stuff, so that when my other account, my WoW 2 account, expires, I will not, probably not, I say that now, but you never know, restart it again. So I won't be able to transfer stuff as willy-nilly as I have been. I think I got 20-some days left on it. But that's another litmus test. And the higher those go with the tokens, that means I think Blizzard has a built-in limit, so it's not like you can get 40 or 50,000 gold for $20. But when I go to Aldum, there's just nobody there, Alliance or Horde. I do send stuff across and link it up, and I'll go over and show you that. I know it's a lot of me talking and bouncing between characters, but I want to kind of show you different starting zones with the Blood Elf Paladin. Here he has the one-hander. You could go with two-hander or dual blade. You can't have two one-handed swords because that's a main hand. But if I go to the Alliance auction house, you can see that stuff is just not selling. I've had Whiptail was my gold, or for that matter. I'll show you the prices on that. And the same as they've gone up on the Horde side, so it's not as much. And I think that's typical of games. Now, to put it in a different perspective, I just had a new gate installed on our backyard fence, like we'll use the rider in the backyard. And I was talking to the guy that put it in. I said, how's business been? He says, it's an election year. I'm not going to get into politics, so don't worry. Although Horde is red and Alliance is blue, so I don't know if that says anything about Blizzard's humor in that aspect. But he said that in election years, particularly the closer you get to the election, slower business gets because people hold their breath and hold their pocketbooks and don't spend stuff. And I think that, along with going back to school, kids are not playing during the day. At night, they are better be studying. And, you know, what was once just a time sink during the summer is now a distraction from school, and most kids are focusing on their school, or should be. One would hope anyway, but a lot of players are max level and done. Oh, see, now I have, if you go to Whiptail, So this guy's put a bid for 50 gold. I said, a good, more power to him. But if I go to look at Whiptail, I'm the low bid here, but it's not anywhere near. At one point, they were selling for 200 or 300 gold. Elementium ore is another one. That's down to 58. So you can see, and if you go there, there isn't a lot of alliance at all that I've ever seen there. And when I was playing a lot there, I very rarely saw them. There were some, but nowhere near the amount that listed the stuff that were up here, the different players. So I think they were sending stuff from the Horde over and then transferring back so they could buy tokens, or keeping them in the alliance side to buy tokens. And I think that phenomena, however you want to say it, has passed. Because if you go over to the Horde side, and I've gotten rid of a lot of the miscellaneous banks because I expanded. One of the reasons I bought a token is I expanded all the banks on my Horde side and my Alliance side for the guilds I have to 5 tabs to store miscellaneous stuff. And then right now, so I have, on the Alliance side, I have room for expansion. I have a leather bank, an ore bank, a herb bank, and that's about it. There's 3 characters, and the rest are all playing characters. So if I go to Scarlet, let's go to somebody who's an Overmod. This is a paladin, but much like the Blood Elf. Now he's in Ogremar, she's in Ogremar, but you can't transmog because when you have the heirloom, plate heirloom on, it doesn't become plate until you can wear plate. So when you go look at it here, it's male, and it'll show you can transmog. You can go in there and do it. It just won't stick. And I think that's because any of the stuff that you do, and I'll show you that in a minute here. Has to do with the armor types. Hunters are the same way. They can wear mail. That's leather, but if you wear leather, you can transmog the leather. So I think if I have something mail on there, we can try that, see if it sticks. I have not, so let's give it a shot here. But it was going to do Whiptail. So you can see Whiptail sells for actually pretty much almost equal par level, within 10 gold of what's selling for on the Alliance side. Only because I kept listing my stuff lower, so I'll pat myself in the back because none of my stuff, well, you saw the one guy bid. Because that is expensive to me to have to buy it like that. And I may contact him and say, hey, dude, I'll give it to you for less. We'll see. You just never know who you're talking to, and it could be a Horde trying to do it across too. I don't know. Yeah, elementary more's down. Let's go try that. To be honest, I don't think I've tried transmogging mail armor on a plate wear, because this is the plate stuff. This would be a good experiment to show you the transmog. You can see I have 2 of the Swift Hands of Justice that heal me, so that will help when tanking. Instances have slowed down, as well as we get back to with the game slowing down. It used to be boom, 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 boom. You could do it even at the lower levels. Now there's a gap. So unless you're a tank or a healer, and even then you have to. So here, for example, you can do this, but it won't apply it. So let's try experiment. We'll try leather. And think that's normally a male. We'll see here in a minute. So if I put a leather helmet on, see, it won't let me transmog that. Oh, that's not leather, that's male. I did two are male. So it won't let me do the male. Oh, I guess I already had that on, so it won't let me transmog that. So maybe what I did before. Oh, so let's get rid of these. So if I put up, oh, that's why I didn't like the look of the. Yeah, it won't let me transmog them because they're classes that are not, or types of armor that are not necessarily worn by that particular class. So this is the male variation. Kind of surprised. And these are the plate, and that's the male. So yeah, it doesn't. Interesting. Double check that. Yeah, we'll let you transmog it. So that's one caveat. You'll see warriors, paladins, and hunters at up to level 40 that will look. You can tell they're wearing heirlooms when you're doing stuff like that. But weapons you can. As you can see, the sword is transmogged and shields. It's just, and the back piece can be. Try the back piece of this. So if you go into the back piece, I have a particular lookalike. That will stick. This cloth is cloth. Go. But yeah, so those are the transmogs for that. Now you might say, well, can I get them on both the Horde Alliance? Yes, those are account-wide. So let's say, for the sake of argument, as I ran into in retail, I had 50 maxed out characters on the server. So let's say I go over, I'll pick one I don't have any characters on. In fact, we'll make it even better. We'll go to one that's over on Real. Now I have a couple on USC, some benedictions of it, but we'll go over and see how these connect to. Now it may be a long hop for me going over to this, so I can't guarantee connection. But if I were to create a character, let's say a druid, and I go in. Now this is on a server I have not been on or at all. Now you can't send gold, you can't send bags, so you don't have that available. You can buy a token.
Exiled years ago from their lands in Stranglethorn.
And now let's say I go through and I get all this set up where I go in and set my auto loop to my action bars. I can go into the heirlooms, and lo and behold, they're there. So I can go, okay, so we're going to be a druid. I'll be a DPS druid. And yes, there's two different types of armor if you get them. I think I want the black there. Until you get to level 4 or 5, they all are basically the same. Then they have their differences of intellect and strength and agility. So early on, it doesn't really matter. These are the options I have. Is bada bing, bada boom, you're set to start. Now, it isn't until you go to Ogrimmar. Now, this character won't have anywhere near the gold. It takes about 5 or 10 gold, but to transmog it. So there is that to bear in mind if you're just starting out and you have them. But if you have them, you probably have characters that can raise gold. Now, the advantage I have right now is with my 85s is I can go through and run instances if I need gold, or if I can go farm if I need gold. So I can play the game. You're not trying to figure out how I'm going to get this or that. And to be honest, running an instance for a purpose where I know I have to finish the instance is not my cup of tea. But I've gotten better at running them, and I found out an interesting thing that I didn't understand in regular instances. I've commented in my other videos of people who take shortcuts in instances for whatever reason. I couldn't figure out. It was annoying, and I didn't understand why. I got good at doing them after a while, but it turns out those people are used to playing those instances on heroic, because heroic ups the damage stuff does. So things that might tickle you in normal instance running will wipe your party in heroic. There's even other options in later releases that there's hard mode, I think. I don't think they have that here. Because if I pick one of my right there, this for example, there are some instances I have not tried, and I don't know exactly what they are or what the difference is, but you can see the options available for instances. So if I go into the heroics, now there's, when you go in here, there's advantages you get. If there need tanks, so they can do a tank and you get in there satchel exotic stuff. But what I'm going to do here, like I read, there was alpha and beta ones. I don't know what those were. Dire brew. Oh, that's because of the Brewfest, I think. But if you look at the Cataclysm normal for Red Baroness, these are the ones that she has to do. And if you go into heroic, these are the heroic. Now there's heroic versions of regular dungeons you can't do in normal at this level because they're just not offered. But if you go, you can do Dead Mines heroic. A lot of these different ones that go in there, and they're challenging. I will be the first to admit that. They're fun and they'll teach you, but that's where you learn the shortcuts. And that explains, I can understand. I still don't agree with doing it, but it is what it is. So they've cleaned that up with the, there must be one of the releases out there. So now if you ask yourself, what do these heirlooms look like at a high level? So she's level 85. So you can see how at 85 the stats for these go up. So they're not bad. It's just that in order to do some of these instances at a higher level, whether it's heroic or whatnot, you have item level requirements, and these do not have item levels. They're level 1 at all times. But you can see how I was talking about the cloaks or back pieces. Blood Moon is the intellect, critical strike. Black Baron is agility. Sandstorm Cloak is a strength, and as is the Gargoyle. The difference between these two has to do with dodge versus critical strike. So one's DPS, one is tanking. And you can see some of the benefits you have. Now, the stuff that only goes to 80 obviously does not have as nice of stats as the stuff that can go to 85. But you can go down to the bow is decent damage, that goes up to 80. All the weapons just go to 80. I don't think there's anything that goes above 80 in the weapons or the trinket. You don't. But yeah, you could use heirlooms and at 80 all the way to 85 if you wanted to. But if you go and look at some of these, showing if you don't have the item level, these will be grayed out. You can't do them. Going along, I don't know if the normals have it or not. Excuse me. But turn that off. I know that most people like it. Subscribe. Anyway, these are the options that you have, and it helps a lot because initially, when Wrath came out, I have to go back and look at the videos. There was a boost you got, 50% XP or something like that, up until a certain level, which was really good because you didn't have the heirlooms. And well, now that I have the heirlooms, if that boost was there, I'd be getting quite a bit. And to be honest, leveling now with the heirlooms is reminiscent of what all the work I used to go, because I used to take a character, whether it was Alliance or Horde, and I would go to the 3 starting areas of the respective races I could get to, then go to their secondaries before I started grinding, because that would give me the level advancement. Well, now, even though Cataclysm is significantly different in the questing that's out there, I find myself with these heirlooms, with the XP boosts, 5 to 10, or probably 5 levels, 8 levels, depending. If you do instances, it's even better because you get a lot more instances. I have not done a lot of battlegrounds. I plan to do that for some of the videos. I'm less of a fan of battlegrounds than I am of instances, but they're fun to do. It's just you have to see when you do the instances. I'll go back to Red Baroness here. You can get PvP tokens. This is how I got the shoulders from Wintergrasp, because I ran Wintergrasp ad nauseum to get those. With the there's a caveat when you run the heroics, you get a bonus. Whether it's justice, whether it's regular, it's just justice. You only get 9 of them per week of the boost, but you get on the heroic, you get them every boss, plus the other trinkets. So if you come in here, justice points are the heirlooms, and you can see like I eventually will get those just to be a completionist, and this sword I may get just again to be a completionist. And main hand agility would be for having, because I like to use a sword on my rogues character, any of the classes I can. But then you have the valor or justice, it's for rogues, but these are not heirlooms. These are armor in bits and pieces you can get. This gets into the armor race. That is a big push for people, particularly if you're raiding, because it'll check your item level and you need to be 400 plus or 450, whatever they tell you, and that helps you. So you run a lot of these to get these things. I've played that game, and it's nauseating after a while. And for those that like it, more power to you. As a casual player, it loses the fun of playing. Now, going back to the PvP, at least to me, there's people that will do it. And again, more power to them. Now these are the honor heirlooms. So I got these doing Wintergrass. I've got honor tokens, and I've got these. There's also heirlooms you can get in Wintergrass. I don't think I got any of those. They have different sort, but these are more resilience based for PvP than they might be for PvP heirlooms or PvP heirlooms. You can wear them in PvP or for battlegrounds or what have you. But resilience does add in. Now later instances they did away with resilience altogether. But yeah, so those are heirlooms and the benefits that you get from them. The speed. I think when I'm leveling up to get out of an area, I do typically find myself 5 levels higher than at least 5 than I did the regular way, because just killing and skinning. Now another thing to add to that, and I touched on it a lot, is gathering. Gathering gives you XP. Skinning obviously does, because you have to kill the things, or if you get lucky you find a skin, but most of the time you have to kill them. But herbing and mining give you XP. So on my alliance side, I have a lot of gatherers and only a certain number of creators. Well, on the Horde side, I'm doing it a little different. I have a couple different enchanters. I have a couple different this. I have a couple that are just straight gatherers, because they go through and they get XP from mining and herbing. And that also racks up. I leveled a whole level from, I want to say 83 to 84, just farming an Aldum on my druid that I had up there, just gathering one back in the day when I was making gold that way to sell it and do stuff on there. So yeah, you can do a lot of that. But yeah, I have some characters I will show. Starting out, I have a shaman that I'm going to challenge myself with. It's going to be there's certain elements of each class that I've just not gotten into. The shaman was the melee one. I'm going to have an axe wielding shaman. They don't start out until level 15 that you can pick, or no, level 10 you can pick your specialty. But yeah, I'll do a demonstration of this area, the pinglets. I also go to Dalaran with all my characters, because just all of the vendors are just clustered together, and I'm just used to them as I go there. So to each their own. But yeah, I look forward to doing that, and I hope this little discussion is a warm-up to my next videos. It will be of benefit to you and yours. And I'm glad to be back and got things running. And so far, I'm not going to really have luck. The only other thing it wasn't really until I went from DirectX 12 to DirectX 11 that things seemed to settle down. I also was running the music in the background, because when I was multi-boxing, I would have the music on one in the background, none on the other, and I have it running from the same installation, so I don't know if that played a part in it, with perhaps doing weird things with the music. I don't know, but I did turn that off, so it's no longer in the background. And I actually turned it off for a while, noticed everything running smoother. I turned it back on, and there's always going to be delays of stuff when it's going, so I don't know how all of that played into it. But yeah, if you're having issues, DirectX, maybe because of it, I don't know. I do know that I don't remember which release it was. It's when they got the new Dalaran. At one point, when they came out with a new expansion, not release, expansion, there's a new Dalaran and an old Dalaran. The old Dalaran is obviously the one we have now in Cataclysm and Wrath. The new Dalaran was different because in the basement of the new Dalaran, it's hostiles. It's not a fun place to go to. And for a long time, until I turned off certain elements of the game, and this was before I had this computer, I couldn't play in the new Dalaran. Like, WoW client would crash. So I really turned everything on. I just avoided it like the plague. So that's another example of how sometimes graphics overload can mess with your game. But as a casual player, I'm back to now playing for fun. I don't have to push through and say, okay, I want to get to level 85 so I can mine and get all this gold. I have the gold I need. If I need something, I can go farm it on the Horde or Alliance side. I have things I can go get. I have the druids that I can go out and farm, or herbs or other characters. On the Alliance side, I have a lot more I can go get if I need it. On the Horde side, I have a druid, and I'm getting other characters up that will do it. So again, it's back to just having fun playing, whether I'm doing instances or battlegrounds, which I will start doing videos on battlegrounds, and I'll show you how I'm challenging myself to do tanking. Now, for example, normally when you level up a paladin or a warrior for that matter, you would use a two-hander for DPS. So what I'm doing here is I happen to have a shield that would use a level 1, and I thought, oh, I'm going to force myself to DPS as a tank would. You know, it's dumb saying, well, people say, well, you can do more damage with a two-hander. If I have the axe here, I didn't have a sword, but yeah, it's a way of forcing yourself to play. Now, this is a shield that they sold here that I have not transmogged and won't be able to until 40. I do that in Ogrimmar. I do not believe that when I went looking, I couldn't find a transmog in either Undercity or the capital here. So I think it's only in Ogrimmar or Stormwind that you can do transmogging on it. There's benefits of different crafting professions where you can add sockets and stuff, and I can see it, but enchanting is nice because in Cataclysm you can store up the enchants that you do into the bank, and other characters can use them, where in Math you had to have them in the yourself or in a trade window to do it. I believe, I don't know if the Wrath ever had the vellum that they do in Cataclysm, so there is that to consider. But I'll go out and show you what I did with the banks. I have Geek Chic as my Horde guild. Geek Feng Shui is my Alliance guild. At some point, I don't know if they will try to merge servers. I think they've already done that to a great extent. In the past, when they did that, your guild transferred. So in this case, right now, these servers are locked, meaning if you're on them already, you can play on them. If you are on them, you get free transfers off. That's why some of my characters were left. I don't know when I created them, particularly on the Horde side, went to Whitemane. So right now, there's only 3 servers that are active on US West for creating new characters. US East is a few more options. There's 6 servers, and there's variations of populations, particularly in the PvP. Benediction is an Alliance heavy server, so if you want to try playing at a handicap, you play Horde. You can go out and Google populations and they'll tell you the different ones. If you like role playing or normal. Then you saw the Oceanic is just 3. They have 2 PvP and normal. But I have not got into. I may go in and play around with retail just to see if it. Retail didn't appeal to me at all when I went to do it after playing here. And I know I started all this adventure with hardcore. WoW is not it's doable and playable as hardcore, but it's the way that the spawning is, unless they fix it. I have not played hardcore classic for a long while. It was too easy to get killed by chaotic spawn, which is unfair to, in my opinion, to try to use it, particularly in hardcore. But I'll give you an example of how I another character. Having fun with names of characters. I try to have multiples of each class. Sometimes more like on the alliance side. Thumbelina was back when I was ganking, and I will call it that. Higher level Horde, because I was lower level and they were. So that, I guess it still falls under ganking. And I wanted them, so I have a Thumbelina on the Horde, and I had 3 Thumbelinas spelled differently, because I wanted to think it was all the same character. Humor at the time. But I'll also show you the back. You can see where I've transmogged her stuff. Some of my characters are still only using the 20 slots. I have a bunch of bags I've stored up that will be available should I decide I need to upgrade. It's only 2 more slots, but anyway, what I was going to show you is you can store cloth and the stuff you do for enchanting. Oh, this is another big thing. On the Alliance side, there's a 20 slot leatherworking bag you can buy that is not available, as far as I've been able to find, on the Horde side. Somebody can probably correct me on that. So what I did is I bought a bunch in the Alliance and sent them over to the Horde side, and for my leatherworkers, because I couldn't find them other than the ones that you buy in the auction house, or the smaller ones. But then on the in the bank here, I stored up some of these things that I can, like that. Normally I throw away the scrolls, so they really don't do a lot. But I've had gather enchants, recipes. I did that on the Alliance side. I store up the lock boxes. Lock picking obviously is a lot different now than it was under Wrath. But I'm storing all of the different enchants as I'm learning them. I may go back and do that on the Alliance side. So if I have a character that needs something enchanted on there just to have it, you level out a gear so fast it becomes moot, to be honest. Gather is about the best one you can get. But yeah, that is about it for this episode of Geek, Feng, Shui. As usual, as Geek coming in, I'll say shout out to our friends at Chaotic Good Brewing here in Castle Warrenville, Under Pressure in Golden Valley, and South by Southeast in beautiful Pine Island, or venues of similar nature, dear you and yours. Great places, great times, great fun, and chillax, hang out, and enjoy yourself with you and your family and friends. Yeah, a lot of good times there. But check out Blizzard and other games that they may have. Now, if you want to play retail, go for it. If you want to play regular, go for it there. This is just some examples of how you can help characters level once you get higher level, and then sit back and just play the game, whether it's grinding because there's no instances, and you do find some fun things when you're grinding that you might not have known, and the difference between Horde and Alliance can be a lot. I know I found that, and some of it's better on one side than the other, and entertaining. As I have yet, I say this, knock on wood, run into Alliance. I mean, I had an example where one could have, where I was going over just to run my Horde, one of my lower level Horde along, and she's like 35, along the starting areas, because I was trying to get up to an area on the other side of Stormwind. One riding through, and there was no Alliance characters, and an 85 rode by. Oh, here we go. No, they didn't even stop. You know, I don't know what it is, but if it was, the roles were reversed and that was Alliance, I'd say, oh, I'd be dead. because the Horde characters, for the most part, do that, and that's why I was made sure that they are aware that there's people that hunt them down and hold them. My favorite to this date is the AFKers. If you're on a PvP server, make sure you go AFK out of range of any nearby. I mean, druids are about the only ones that will shapeshift, attack, shapeshift, fly up. You do that, but or log out. But don't leave yourself in one spot, because players like me will come along and say, "Oh, target practice." So, on that note, I will head out and let you get back to your day. I am back, and I'll start to try doing more videos. And just show you some of the characters I'm playing. I'll try to do some battlegrounds. I'll try to do some heroics, just to show you the difference in how they play out. But yeah, make sure you upgrade your make sure you update your add-ons if you use them, because there's a lot of updates that have come out between even regular and chaotic. I mean, regular. Right. Cataclysm. I have my mind's on beer. Cataclysm or classic. We're going along on there, or retail for that matter. So anyway, I will shut up and get you back to this your regular. And thanks for stopping by. Please like, subscribe. So it helps, particularly the likes. If you have commentary, it is moderated. You can blame the trolls. I don't tolerate trolls whatsoever. I will take the bad comments as long as they're, I want to say, polite, meaning that they're not out of line. Trolls like to pile on, and that will not happen. So just fair warning for the trolls out there. They're just itching to slam me for stuff I do or how I do it. If you have creative comments, feel free. I have thick skin. If you say, hey, you really should do this, I'll explain why I do it the way I do it, and I appreciate the way you do it, and I might even try it. I've done that on a couple occasions. So anyway, I've been promising to shut up, so I'll get back to I'll cut out here and see how this flows up. Have a good one.